o'clock news.
Good evening. Tonight we bring you a remarkable story, a story once shrouded in secrecy, but now for the first time it can be made public. This is the incredible tale of Esther and Oded Aboudi. Some 36 years ago when the couple met, when Esther Aboudi, known back then as Esther Meyer, was actually playing in the NBA. Now, as incredible as this may sound, it's true. Esther was the only female ever to hit the hardwood in the NBA. For the rest of the story, here's Fox's Doug Katz.
We are here with David Stern, Commissioner of the NBA, who admits, in fact, that Esther Aboudi was once the greatest player in the NBA. Commissioner.
This is true, Doug. Esther would have put Michael Jordan to shame. She was simply magnificent.
Why, Commissioner, hasn't the public heard this before? Why are we just finding out now of this once great female basketball player?
We needed to keep the NBA separate from the WNBA. Otherwise, if the players knew about Esther Aboudi, we would have had to treat them for severe depression. Nowadays, our players are much more comfortable with their own inadequacies.
Strange but true, an elaborate cover-up was instituted to erase Esther's place in NBA history. Some say this conspiracy, the Meyer conspiracy, rivals that of the Roswell conspiracy. You see, from early on, Esther demonstrated a unique acumen for the sport of basketball. These are the rare shots of Esther when she was a very young girl.
And Esther went on to become a child prodigy at hoops, and eventually a first-round draft pick of the 1959 Knicks. She was uncommonly tall at 6'9", and was a force to be reckoned with.
This is the rare footage from the only pro game in which Esther actually played. Unfortunately, you will not be able to see her because she had to visit the bathroom when the camera was rolling, but rare just the same.
Why, may you ask, did Esther leave the NBA? Well, the answer is simple and tragic. She fell in love with a Madison Square Garden peanut vendor.
Ed Aboudi was not merely a peanut vendor. He revolutionized the entire peanut business.
How so, Mr. Samnick?
Ed was a genius with peanuts. He could calculate the number of peanuts per bag. He could figure out the average price per nut. He actually could sell off the rights to the left side of the peanut, then to the right side of the peanut, and then he actually could sell off that, that little piece in the peanut. It looks like an old man with a tiny penis. Sorry, Ed, I really, don't take offense with that.
Fascinating.
Oh no, it didn't end there. Oh no. He found a way to assign a value to the shells. He actually took a tax deduction based on those shells. This man must have made millions on this.
But there was one obstacle to Ed and Esther living out their lives in marital bliss. The NBA just would not let her go. She was that good. There was only one answer.
A height reduction. It was the only possible solution. It was a tremendous challenge, though. We had to take Esther from 6'9" down to her current 5'1". The only preliminary work had been in Europe, where they'd taken some people from 6'5" down to 6 foot.
So you're saying you actually cut her down to size?
Yes, I'm actually quite proud of this achievement.
Ah, so it was Esther Aboudi who opted to become 5'1", so the NBA would stop pestering her, and she could devote all her time to Ed, the peanut salesman of her dreams. After Ed and Esther were married, they left the basketball and peanut industries, and until now, their professions have remained top secret. In a bizarre revelation, this station has learned that Esther and Ed were actually top Mossad agents. This information comes from their senior officer. We are here behind closed doors with the senior Mossad officer who was in charge of Esther and Ed. For obvious reasons, the officer has requested anonymity. For these reasons, we dim the lights for this interview.
Oded and Esther were the best operatives we had. The raid on Entebbe Forget Barak. It was all the Abudis.
That's incredible. Whoa.
No, something there.
Grip, nobody saw. Nobody saw.
No, something there.
After their brief stint with the Mossad ended, when their senior agent was exposed just moments ago, Ed and Esther decided to live a more mainstream lifestyle. Ed, who had proven himself in business with the peanut sales, once again tried to work an interesting tax angle. Bob?
You see, Ed focused on the tax benefits of multiple dependents, so he asked me to figure out a way in which he could claim all of the eggs in Esther's ovaries as dependents.
Bob, how many eggs are there in the human body?
At that time, Esther had about 613 eggs. You know, her father, as I recall it, was in the egg business.
So, Bob, are you saying that Ed wanted to claim 613 dependents?
Well, his initial strategy was to claim 614, because he was sure that one would be disallowed.
So, Bob, what ended up happening?
Well, I told my boss what Mr. Abudi had requested.
I told Abudi he was nuts, completely out of his mind. I showed him this. The analysis is simple. There's only 9 simple outcomes. An O representing an egg.
My God, that's incredible.
The X represents an X chromosome.
A true genius at work.
And according to the Greenwald-Ross principles, the more, the better.
Now I understand.
And as you can see, it's really quite complicated.
And then what happened?
When Ed Abudi saw this, he looked at me, very funny. He said, "Fantastic, absolutely fantastic, you're hired right now."
Resigned to the fact that they would have to have children to claim dependents, Esther gave birth to Henry, then David, and then to Abigail. Today, Henry is the lead singer for the Swedish rock sensation, ABBA. David has a thriving career as a professional wrestler.
Back, my friends, to the show that never ends.
And Abby works part-time as a supermodel.
It's an exciting anniversary. We're here on the streets. We'll speak to some people to get their reaction right now. I'm sure you know the exciting news that it's Ed and Esther's 36th wedding anniversary. Would you like to say a couple words to the happy couple?
Who?
Ed and Esther?
We don't have any idea who they are.
Ed and Esther?
Come on, let's get out of here.
Sir, come over for a second. Come over here. It's Esther and Ed's 36th wedding anniversary. Do you have a couple words for the happy couple?
Do you mean Oded Abudi, formerly the advisor to Time Warner's, the late Steve Ross, who now runs Alpine Capital, and his wife Esther, who volunteers for numerous charitable causes, including Women at Risk and Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, among others?
No, I meant the peanut salesman and the former ball player. Thanks anyway, I appreciate
Sorry,
it.
I don't know.
Well, we'll find somebody. There you have it. The incredible, but completely true and unembellished story of Ed and Esther Abudi. Over to you, Bill.
Happy anniversary, Esther and Ed. We thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope that you'll tune in tomorrow night when we bring you the true and unembellished story of the JFK assassination.